2 years ago, just 2 years ago, in March of 2022, our next speaker was attending this exact same event. Now, that year in January, his firm had done $59,000, right? In March, that was January, right? January, $59K. In March, he says, you know what? He attends this exact event. He says, you know what? I'm going to work with SMB. Fast forward to the following January, he didn't break 100. He didn't break 150. He got to $202,000 in 1 month, one January later. And we said, you know what? You got to come on the stage. And he did. And he gave so much value to the audience, we invited him back. And now, this most recent January that just passed, he increased that record month by 25%. This year, he's on pace to do over $3 million. And here's the neat thing about Nick's story. Contrary to how you might think it would happen, as his revenue went up, so did his freedom. As his revenue has gone up, so has his freedom. Why? Because he's managed to build a self-managing firm. And he wants to show you how he did it. So we're going to throw to a quick video so you can learn a little bit more about Nick. And then on the other side, you guys are going to go crazy when I bring him to the stage.
Ever wish you could take a real vacation from your firm without it falling apart? You're not alone. Thousands of lawyers across the nation struggle to build profitable law firms that don't require every hour of their waking lives. Not anymore. Nick Passalacqua has cracked the code for how to build a highly profitable, self-managing law firm, and he's going to show you exactly how he did it.
All right, everybody, get those cameras on. Put your hands together. Help me welcome to the stage, Nick Passalacqua.
Thanks, Chad. All right, thanks to SMB for having me. It's always a pleasure to come on down and try and impart some kind of wisdom on you guys, and hopefully you get something out of it. But yes, I'm Nick Passalacqua, owner and managing director of Passalacqua Associates, where we represent people who've been charged with a crime or have been seriously injured that don't deserve to have their lives ruined as a result. And as Devon mentioned, I'm going to talk to you about building out a self-managing firm, okay? So first, let me just tell you some things I'm not going to talk about. As you kind of probably got the idea from most of today, we're not going to be talking to you about your legal skill or ability or expertise. Don't care about that, okay? We're going to be talking about the magic behind the curtain that turns your firm into a well-oiled, self-managing machine, all right? You're going to get a bit of tough love from me today. I'll tell you like I tell some of my clients. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear to hopefully get out of your own way and on your way to scaling the firm of your dreams. So in the chat, who thinks this to me is the most important thing probably in my life, okay? And it's no different than what I bring to managing my firm. This is mindset, okay? You've heard a lot of talk today about it. It was interesting. I was telling Bill and Andy how well my presentation, I think, dovetails off of what they've already been bringing to you guys today, okay? It is the most important thing, bar none, in my opinion, okay? It's so important. You have to have a growth mindset, okay? You have to have a business superhero mindset, not a legal production superhero mindset. We all know there'll be times where you have to swoop in and save the pleading, save the case. Okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about a boss superhero mindset, right? Oh, Sally's car broke down, you gave her some money even though you didn't have to. There's those moments too, but that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about having the ability to recognize what is best for your firm, what is best for your business as a whole. and more importantly, a willingness to act on that information for the betterment of your firm. And I'm not talking about this, yay, everything is sunshine and rainbows, it's going to be great. Not that BS, okay? But if you've heard me present in this context before, you've heard me talk about being objective observers of facts as they present themselves in our businesses. I think it's very important as business owners that we become objective observers of these facts, because that's all anything that happens in our business is. It's a fact, not good or bad. We put that context on it. Okay? So what we need to do is change the lens through which we see these facts. We need to stop seeing obstacles and start seeing opportunity. We need to stop seeing expenses and start seeing investments. And that's one of the harder mindset shifts to really adopt. We need to stop seeing adversity and start seeing acceleration. Right? Because what better way to bust through a brick wall than going full speed? But what am I doing? I'm just changing the semantics. I'm just changing the words. But mindset begins and ends with the semantics of how we talk to ourselves. Okay? Now, this is kind of a silly example, but what if I just walked around telling myself all day, every day, something, anything, whether or not it's true? Okay, so a silly example that I would say is not true, but if I walked around just telling myself all day, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat. Guess what? If you're told something enough times, you begin to believe it. And I don't care whether it's told to you from an external source or from right in here. Okay? Now, what if I change one letter in that sentence? What if instead I walk around convincing myself that I'm fit? I'm fit. I'm fit. Well, guess what? I'm going to start to believe it. The truth of the statement is irrelevant. If you are told something enough times, you will begin to believe it. So why not choose a positive thing? Because taking one step further, I've spoke about this before, and this is a little bit more abstract maybe, but we don't want what we chase. We don't want what we chase. Okay? You don't want that car. You don't want that big house. You want that thing because of the feeling that you think that thing will bring you. Call it what it is. You want the thing because of how you think it will make you feel. But that's the beauty of emotion. It doesn't actually have a physical connection to anything. So you can feel whatever you want to feel now. Find that feeling you think that car, that money, that house will bring you, and lean into it. Feel that now. And that's when the momentum starts. Mindset is the most important, without question. But there's some other things that you've got to get handled and figured out if you're going to build out a self-managing firm. Right? This next one seems to be talked about a lot now. I hear it constantly, and it's delegation. I like to go one step further and kind of describe these a little more to put them in a better context, right? Because to me, it's deliberate delegation. Why deliberate? Well, if it's not deliberate, in my opinion, you're really not doing anything more than random task assigning. Right? Like, oh, it's got to be done. You can do that. You can do that. You're the janitor, but you can mail a letter. There's just crap to do, and somebody will do it. That's not delegation. Okay? Has to be deliberate. delegation saved my firm. So let's jump back to January, February 2017. Okay? I had been a solo, literally solo, not a secretary, for probably 3.5 years at that point. Started scaling and said, man, I need some help. Let's start hiring, see what happens. Okay? Fast forward November of 2017. I have 3 employees, 1 associate, 2 paralegals, and another associate supposed to start January of 18. And November 14, 2017, I was told that my youngest of 3, my 7-week-old daughter, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So I lived in the hospital for the next 2 months. Thankfully, I had whatever rudimentary, elementary type delegation and workflows assigned to the appropriate team members so that everyone knew who was doing what, who was responsible for those tasks, for those assignments. And thank God we did, or I wouldn't be standing here. I wouldn't probably own a firm. I would have been out of business. I'd have been out of a job, and who knows. That's how important delegation should be to your practice. Because I'm literally proof positive that you have no idea when a call like that is coming and what happens thereafter. You don't know if you get a call tomorrow where you have to be away from your firm for 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, right? Mine was a 2-year battle in and out of hospitals and things. My daughter's fine now. She's 6.5, making me lose what's left of my hair. But at that time, that was it. That was all that mattered. So you have to understand deliberate delegation. Okay? And I like to phrase things outside of the legal context. Sometimes that's like the aha moment, just stepping outside of the legal box for a minute. So imagine it this way, right? You're the conductor of a symphony. Your legal team is your orchestra members. Now ask yourself this. Are you playing each and every instrument? You better not be. You'd be like the one-man band in the parades, right? And think about how exhausting that is for that guy. You think it's any different trying to wear every hat running your business? No, you're going to burn out. Ask yourself this. Are you the best at each and every instrument being played in your orchestra? You might think so, but you're not. And if you are, that may be problem number 1. Deliberate delegation is about trusting the A players that you put on your team. Okay? You don't trust your A players? Maybe meaning you don't have A players? Guess what we have here? Facts. Presenting themselves in your business. Question is, are you going to be an objective observer of these facts with a business superhero mindset, willing to act for the betterment of your firm? Probably not. Because too many of you are operating out of fear and not enough imagination. We need to be creative and confident enough to see the future clearly. Whatever future you want to design for yourselves. If you know anything about SMB's programming, you know that one of the very first things that they require is that you put together a vivid vision. I did it, and it's been extremely helpful for our practice and the growth that we've experienced. You have to think of yourself or your law firm as a blank canvas waiting for you. Imagination is the spark that ignites innovation. You can build out your firm to be anything you want it to be. You can set up things to be done the way you've always wanted them to be done. You can create the culture you would love to work within. You have to play the game. You have to lean into those what-if daydreams. the positive mindset, what if daydreams. We're all going to do it. We all do it. Right? But instead of, oh, what if I falter? Well, guess what? You're going to. I have. Bill has. Anybody who's built a business has faltered. You don't fail unless you hang it up and walk away. Instead of that what if game, what if we tried this version? What if it works? What if I double my caseload? What if I double my staff? What if I double my revenue? What if I double my freedom? What if I double my happiness? Isn't that a lot more fun? If we're going to do the what if games and daydreams anyways, why not take it on a positive spin? Why would we go down a negative rabbit hole? Fear of failure? Or is it the fear of success? Not a whole lot of difference between the two. Fear of success can be paralyzing no less than the fear of failure. It's intimidating, right? It's intimidating to think that you might have to double your staff. You might have to double your payroll. But again, investment, not an expense. We have to start imagining beyond the billable hours, beyond the day-to-day. Imagine a legal landscape where you're known nationally. Absolutely possible. I'm not there, but guess what? I've now on at least 4 different occasions been asked to speak to a audience of law firm owners nationwide. That's pretty cool. What else do we need if we're going to build out a self-managing law firm? I think this next one is kind of the unsung hero of building any business, and that's patience. We have to exercise patience. It allows us to become better objective observers of those facts, both good and bad, that present themselves in our business, right? And perfect example, how many times have any of us said in hindsight, oh, you know what, in hindsight, that was the best thing that ever happened. Definitely didn't feel it when it was happening. It happened to me. That's why we have to try and find the positive spin on everything that's happening in our business. It's simply a fact. What you do with it, what context you put it in, makes it good or bad. I choose to make them all good, even if they are not the greatest. It's an opportunity, right? But it allows us to be better objective observers of these facts in our business so that we can respond to these facts, right? Notice I didn't say react. Give me a 5 in the chat if you think anything in our business should be reactionary. Pat, gotcha. Ooh, no. Nothing in our business should be reactionary, right? Patience gives us that space. And studies have shown patient leaders have better relationships in the workplace. They're seen as more credible and more respected by their teams. Nothing wrong with that. Put simply, patience is the ability to stay calm in the face of disappointment, adversity, or distress. You will undoubtedly experience those things scaling a law firm if you haven't already. And even if you have, you're going to experience them again. Having patience allows us to better process these challenging situations, preventing us from making snap judgments or knee-jerk reactions. Okay? But one question that I'm often asked is, but how does this concept of exercising patience mesh with this growth mode leadership mindset? Well, for me, it's simple. Patience prevents unrealistic expectations and deadlines. Patient leaders understand fostering growth takes time and deliberate intention. It's not passive. Don't mistake patience for being passive. It's about setting realistic expectations, nurturing the talent you have, and allowing ideas to flourish organically. In a legal landscape that demands precision, patience allows the space needed for meticulous decision-making. It reflects a leader's ability to navigate complex scenarios with composure, instilling that confidence in the team. But it all comes back to mindset. Period. Look, everything is a risk. Doing nothing may be the greatest risk of all. So I'm going to make you all a guarantee, right? I know you all got goosebumps. Oh, lawyers talking about guarantees. I'm going to guarantee you 1 year from today, that 1 year will have passed. It's a guarantee, whether you want it to or not. What's not guaranteed is whether you will be ahead of where you are now, behind where you are now, or simply treading water a year later. We have a saying in my firm that the status quo of today is no longer acceptable tomorrow. It's not allowed. Because the fact is, if you're unhappy where you are, but you're unwilling to take the steps necessary to get where you want to go, you're making a conscious decision to choose the status quo. Whether you want to admit it or not, you're choosing to stay put. So let's just be honest, okay? Can we stop with the BS about I can't afford it right now? Because how much debt did any one of you take on for your last vehicle? I'm not saying that I didn't. I did. Why? Not because I needed that car, because I had some amenities that I wanted. So I paid for them. Okay? And listen, if you don't want your firm to have amenities like profit, structure, accountability, systems, policies, procedures, fine. Then don't pay for them. But don't sit there and tell anybody that it's because you can't. Okay? And now let's get really real and talk about the elephant in the room. Okay? I told you you're going to get some tough love from me. You're all not sitting on this call because you're the happiest that you've ever been in your careers, or because you have the firm of your dreams and you love your work-life balance. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with calling a spade a spade. And it's okay for me to say it because I literally sat on the other side of this screen. Devon said it. I sat in your seat. March of 22, I sat on the Fire Up Your Firm boot camp. True story. I was the first person to sign up. You know how I know that? Because I didn't wait for a link. I knew somebody who was in. I had their sales guy call me on day one, and I signed up before lunch. I wasn't happy. 2 years ago, the business was growing, and it was chaos. We didn't have the structure we have now. I didn't have anywhere near the freedom that I have now. So I ran some numbers because I was curious. Since joining S&B, March of 22, at that point, for at least 14 months straight, we were consistently averaging 91 leads a month. Okay? Now, we're averaging over 205 leads a month, more than 2xing our lead volume. Our average weekly revenue has gone up 105%, more than 2xing. Our average monthly revenue has gone up more than 105%, more than 2xing from March of 22. The number of six-figure months in my firm quadrupled from signing up with S&B. And I don't want to hear any other BS excuses about, oh, I can't do it, I'm in such a small area. I've done that in a county that is 350,000 people in the county. Oh, and did I mention that Supreme Court judge that I interned with also did a study that showed that in our area there's more attorneys per capita than New York City. Yeah, so the statistics were really stacked in my favor. Not so much. But if I can do it, there's no excuse for any of you. Because here's the thing. If you won't bet on yourself, who will? Right? Take that leap. Do what's best for your firm. And build the firm that you want. Not the one I want. I'm on my way to doing that. And mine may look entirely different than what you envisioned for yours. That's okay. These guys help me build out exactly what I'm envisioning in mine. And they can do it for you.